This is a 1947 Dodge, and there's many features about it that seem to be familiar with me, at least because I grew up, like obviously a lot of people, with this type of car. But young people today, they don't seem to have any knowledge, or obviously haven't come across some of the features. But there are some that are interesting. Obviously, hit you, this is what is commonly called a fat-fendered car. You've got fenders stuck on the back. Lovely, I think. The old Dodge is interesting this year, when it had the suicide door on the back. Lovely seating. Beautiful chrome dash, column change. Back was nice. You've got a lot of features that you don't really see on cars now, obviously. Handrail, your pull, and something to hold on to when the going gets a little busy. Footrest, ashtray. This was not a deluxe car in the sense like a Cadillac or Lincoln, so it didn't have a cigarette lighter in the back. Has it in the front. The little windows at the back, obviously open. This car has the central stopping light, which they ran for another series from 49, I think, until about 51, maybe, I'm not too sure. Actually, on this particular car, all three lights stop. So we put stop lights on all three. It seems a bit dangerous in modern traffic just to have the stop light on the center one. Also, there's some lights have been added for indicators. Another thing that people forget is that the trunk used to open with a handle. Now in the front, we've got the quarter lights again. On this particular car, I think there's a feature that I like very much, and that is that it's kind of open. When you wind the window up, you've got your pillar, but it isn't a real pillar, as it is on, say, the next model up on most cars of this period. It disappears with the glass, giving you a kind of modern, for its day, cool look. We've got spotlights that work on the inside, and the on-off switch is here. Unfortunately, they wouldn't be legal today at this height. Got a modern sat-nav, but that obviously wasn't there in its day. Most cars of this period, which people also forget about, was that the wiper controls were fitted on the dash, and this is a 2-speed wiper. It was optional in its time, being electric, because most cars were vacuum. But this guy, obviously, who bought it originally, had it electric. You've got another thing which was obviously was on every car at the period. You had ignition switch, which you turn on, and then you had a starter button. 1949 Chrysler products, Dodge, DeSoto, Chrysler, they introduced the for the first time in a production car, starting the engine with the key. So this was the last Chrysler series that used the starter button. 3 speeds, reverse to the top, forward and up top, forward and down, first and then away, second and third. Fluid drive, which means that you have a type of torque converter. Split windscreen. Another interesting feature which I like personally is that this car was the last one they made, at least by Chrysler, which had a split hood. Another couple of points that are worth remembering on these cars, or mentioning, is that fresh air which was a very important factor because of the heating. Most of the heaters in these old cars were recirculating type, so they just drew air in from the cabin and heated it up and then pushed it back into the cabin. And unless you had fresh air coming in, you could soon feel quite drowsy. You had the quarter lights, which opened at the side, and they gave fresh air. But one good thing, especially in hot climates, was the vent at the top. And there's a handle which you could push in this case, and it opens the vent up. And the vent's at the front here, and the air's coming up. They were situated high up. That way they didn't draw in fumes from low down on the road. We got a cigarette lighter, 6-volt system, but the cigarette lighter still works. Yep, and it works very well. We've got a choke here, and then we've got a control of the fan. There's a 2-speed heater fan. Actually, it's 3-speed. Then we've got a temperature control that controlled the, actually this one's not working at the moment, it's disconnected, but it controls the valve that allows the heater that basically turns the heat off or turns it on. We have the lights here, side lights and main lights. And here we have another feature that a lot of the old cars had, which was a throttle control. So push the throttle down, pull this up, and it held the throttle. And in cold weather, I guess that was quite important. It keeps the engine revs up. A lot of guys, including myself, think that they can be used as a cruise control. So you could set it on the highway and go along at a set speed and then push the throttle off that way. And then at the far end we have a glove compartment and a clock which is illuminated at night, and speedo and 4 gauges which are also all illuminated. We've got fuel, we've got amp rating, oil pressure and temperature, engine water temperature. The signal system was an aftermarket one because this car didn't come with signals. Many didn't actually, especially if they were sold in the Midwest in the States. I guess they didn't have much traffic on the roads. It was more important to have a heater, and a heater was optional, and so were signals. So if you had a choice, you'd certainly have the heater, but signals you probably didn't need them. So there we have it. It's lovely, comfortable looking seats. It's a 1947 Dodge.